Today, we are going to talk about streamlining the school uniform buying experience. We're really excited to have School Uniforms by Tommy Hilfiger joining us today. And welcome to everyone. We really appreciate you attending. Quick agenda for today. We're going to start off with housekeeping. We are then going to get into introductions of our presenters. And then we're going to get into the story of School Uniforms by Tommy Hilfiger. You're also going to hear us talk about Global Schoolwear, which is the parent company that is also used from a web marketing perspective. And then we're going to actually get a quick demo, and then we're going to do a quick Q&A, and we'll wrap up with something fun and do a lightning round and get some personal information on our presenters and have some fun. So with that, let's talk about housekeeping quickly. This is being recorded on Zoom, and following this webinar, we will be hosting this webinar or hosting the recording of this webinar on the znode.com website. So if you have any questions, if you would like to review this webinar after the fact, the video will be available if you want to share it with anyone as well. If you have any trouble with that, please reach out to your account executive or your account manager. They will make sure that you have the information that you're looking for. During the webinar, if you have any questions, there is a Q&A and a chat bubble in the Zoom meeting here. Please feel free to put your questions in there. We are going to try and consolidate all of the questions to the end of the Q&A period. However, we will use that to guide us if there are any questions, or if you want, wait until that time after the demo and we'll walk through the Q&A and we'll take it from there. But for now, let's get started. Let's start with introductions. Matt and Joy, I'm going to let you two start and make introductions of who you are and your role and anything else that you want to share with our audience today.
Sure. Thanks, Tom. So my name is Matt Kohls. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for Global Schoolwear. So my role is centered around overseeing operations with our warehouse team, as well as any of the back office operations for Global Schoolwear, HR, finance, such as that. And then working closely with Joy around some of the web activities.
Awesome. Joy, do you want to give an introduction?
Yes, thanks, Tom. My name is Joy Droessler. I'm the Sales Operations Manager with Global Schoolwear, and my role is really focused around leading the sales operations support team, as well as I work every day with Znode to really manage the back end of the website.
Awesome. Great. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Joy. And welcome, everybody. My name is Tom Flierl. I am the VP of Sales and Marketing at ecommerce, the parent company of Znode. And basically, I work with onboarding customers and work with our marketing team to continue to grow the company. And we are so grateful to have Matt and Joy with us today to give their story of working on Znode. And so with that, let's jump in and we're going to start off with some questions. Matt, I think the biggest thing before we talk about software or e-commerce is understanding of the business model that you're in. Because basically the software has to work for your business. Your business can't work for the software. But can you tell us about Global Schoolwear and the difference between Global Schoolwear and School Uniforms by Tommy Hilfiger? And then just talk about some of the nuances on how you go to market and why that matters for e-commerce.
Sure. So Global Schoolwear is kind of the main entity that we have here. The School Uniforms by Tommy Hilfiger is really just the brand we're using when we are representing ourselves to schools, as we do have a license with Tommy Hilfiger. So virtually all the pieces of apparel that we have on our site do have a Tommy Hilfiger name associated with them. So Global Schoolwear, we provide custom school uniforms to schools throughout the country. We're in all 50 states. Work very tightly with all the schools to make sure that we've got a site that represents the specific items that they want on their site, the colors that match for what they're looking for their students, very specific types of clothes for each particular school. So our reps actually go out, they contract directly with the schools, but for the most part, the parents are our primary end customer. So we are more in a B2B to C model with our site. So unlike our competitors, though, we are focused extremely on e-commerce. So the majority of our competitors really do have a pretty dominant retail focus as well with retail stores. So that's something that we do not do. Everything we focus on is purely online with our schools. So when it really comes to our website, our mantra is easiest for schools, parents and students. So we really have to make the buying experience through our site as easy as possible for our parents to make them want to come back. That reach out to the school with complaints and issues, which upsets admins. We really have to make sure that it's easy from start to finish. So once parents place their order through our site, we provide a lot of value-added service as well. So this includes hemming, applying of logos. We do both heat transfer applications, like on a t-shirt or something, as well as a lot of embroidery. So on an Oxford, on a blazer, polos, all of those very frequently are going to get embroidered and then sent directly out to parents. So basically all of the orders that we are taking in online are made to order and then shipped direct out to our parents.
Nice. So yeah, you mentioned it. It's a B2B to C business model where you really have two sets of customers. You have to have the administrators involved in creating the right assortment for their school, the right selection, and then you also have the parent who is the end customer. So that is a unique business model and a complex business model. So thanks for sharing that, Matt. Joy, do you want to jump in and just talk a little bit about why Znode and talk a little bit about your journey?
Yes, we chose to work with Znode because of exactly what you said, Tom, the complexity of our program. So while we have a base product catalog assortment that is managed centrally in the Znode admin, within that product assortment, we have several variations. We have nearly 700 online unique web stores. And what I mean by complex or unique web stores is that with a school, within any given school, there can be variations in what products, what colors, and what logo rules are served up to any given student, depending on the grade that student's in, the gender of the student, and the program of that student, meaning is it daily wear? Is it a PE program? Is it chapel wear? So behind the scenes, there are so many layers of detail that go into it. So for example, within one school, our co-ed short sleeve red interlock polo, that might be a required item with a required logo for a third grade girl in her daily dress wear. But within that same school, it might be an optional item in which the logo is not allowed for all high school students. So within the back end of Znode, we are able to use that base product, but build all those rules in for that given school. And then that rule can change, obviously, across the various 700 plus school stores that we have out there. So what is really important about all of that to both our B2B, our admin partners, as well as our customer partners, is that that information is reliable. So as a parent, when I log into the site and I bring up my school, the grade, the gender, and the program, I want to be able to rely on the fact that the details of what my student needs is accurate, that I can't shop it incorrectly. That is really important to us. So what is great for the team that I work with is that we're able to manage all of that in the Znode admin. It's all centralized. It's very easy to bring together to create a store. So what we have done is we've created our own backend customized Excel tool, which allows us to build all of those rules in a unique, in an individual role in a CSV file, which we then import into the Znode admin. And from there, we can update as we need to. We can add products, we can remove products, we can change rules, we can actually quickly take everything out and rebuild it. Typically to create a new store, we can do it within 2 to 3 hours. That can vary depending on how detailed the program is, how different it is, depending on the grade, the gender, and the program. But that is on average. If it's okay, Tom, what I'd like to do is a screen share, a demo of our site of what it's like for that B2C customer.
Yeah, that sounds great. I will let you take over the controls here. Thank you.
Okay.
And Joy, you mentioned a CSV file. Is that coming from your sales team then? Am I correct with that?
The CSV file is created by the operations team as well, so that our school administrator partners fill out a dress code form where they let us know what those rules are. And sometimes that's on a form, sometimes it's a phone conversation. We bring all those details together, and then the coordinator, the sales operations person, is able to build it from there.
Great. Thank you for that context. Thank you.
Yes, so I am on our site, globalschoolwear.com, and as a customer, I may or may not know my unique school code, and that's okay. I can quickly search here by my school name, and you'll see that the names meeting the letters that I've typed in, it pops up for me. I can select which one is the correct school I'm shopping for. From there, it's a continued drill down effect. So for example, I have the choice of 4 grade options. Well, in the back end of Znode, we have nearly 75 plus grade attributes built into the back end system, but I only see 4 of them because only these 4 are relevant to this high school. So I select the grade. This carries on to each level. So I can now, I can select between, am I shopping for daily uniform? Am I shopping for the PE uniform? The great thing about this is there's just no confusion. It's completely clear to the shopper. This is what's approved for the daily uniform. This is what's approved for PE wear. So now I'm within this individual web store for this specific school. I have the ability to put some custom messaging out here as needed. You can see promotional options. There are some icon designations that lets the consumer know whether the item is required, part of a requirement, or optional. But most importantly, I can see that I'm within the correct credentials of who I'm shopping for, and what is served up here is exactly what I need to purchase for my student. So I'm on what we call a product listing page. I clicked into the product detail, similar to what I demonstrated with the grade selection. Behind the scenes, we have several options of colors in this particular fleece, but you're only seeing these 2 colors because for this very specific school and the student credentials I entered, these are the only 2 colors that are allowed. Here again, I can select my size range, my size type, and then my student's size. You'll also see, there's some intuitive steps built in. So tall is not an applicable size type for kids. That's not something we offer. You can see it tells me right here that doesn't exist. So, okay, I need to go to adult, and then I can select my size. Now within, as a parent, I can see that I cannot order this without the required logo. So it's error proof essentially. And I'm able to add it to my cart. Another example that I will demonstrate for you here is another school with a unique rule set. So now to show you, similar to what I mentioned, I'm within this school. I see a very different set of grade options that I can select from, because I'm within a different school. So now again, as I shop in here, this is the approved assortment, the approved colors for this specific set of credentials. Now, in this example, this school requires a logo on this item, but they want to give parents the choice. There's 2 different price points of logos, whether it's a full color or a 2-color logo. The requirement option is built into the back end, but giving parents the choice, again, just easy to follow, incredibly intuitive. I can quickly order my child's uniform with no question.
Sorry, that's great. I do have a question. If you have a parent who has children at different schools, do they have one shared shopping cart, or do they have to buy separately for each school?
That is another great advantage here. They have one shared shopping cart, and I can show you how easily that works as a consumer. So when I'm on this product listing page, I can always reference to see what I'm shopping for. So I can shop for my 10th grade girls daily uniform. And once I've added my items to the cart, I can come up and change it now to my 12th grade son, for daily uniform with a quick update. Also, at any point in time, I can change schools here. And again, I can find a completely separate school. And then within my cart, I can very quickly see that I've added items from this school for this student, and I've added items for this school for this student. I can see all of the details within the shopping cart. Another
curious, how big is the typical order size?
Average order value, Matt, do you have that figure handy?
So we typically average about 7 to 7.5 units per order.
Okay.
And I can also demonstrate here for you a great example of detail within one school and just how different it can be. So as I'm shopping for this particular student's daily uniform, this is a second grader, and I'm looking at the short sleeve interlock co-ed polo. I have 4 color options that I might purchase from. Now, within this same school, I'm going to switch to 7th grade. You can see that that exact polo, now because of the grade that child is in, I have several more color options. And again, all of this is managed in one location behind the scene within the Znode admin. The coordinator team is able to go in and quickly update. If the school calls and decides we no longer want to allow purple and red, truly in a matter of minutes, the operations team is able to go into the Znode admin and remove those colors.
Wow. And I'm assuming schools have upper schools and lower schools, or there's different rules by what part of the school the student is enrolled in, correct?
Absolutely. There can be different rules. It becomes very complex. So within any given school, 7th grade can have a separate set of rules for the various gender options, the various program options. There might be, a certain item required for field trip day for 7th grade, and that might be very different for 6th grade daily wear. So there is a lot of data behind the scenes.
Nice. This is great, Joy. Thank you so much for sharing this.
Yes, happy to do so.
Awesome. And why don't we do this? I'm going to actually bring this presentation back up here quickly, but as I'm doing that, tell us what it was like before Znode. Obviously, you moved to a new platform a couple of years ago, but what was life like before you had this feature set that comes natively with Znode?
I can speak to that, Tom. Prior to Znode, we worked on the Magento platform, and to say the least, it was an incredibly challenging time. I would sum it up in really 3 issues that were of concern. First of all, when we were on the Magento platform, the biggest issue was trying to import data. So our Magento partners at the time were not able to come up with a consistent template, either a CSV file, an Excel file, no way to import these complex layers of data. We tried different CSV files. We would build them. We'd build all the rules in, spend hours building the data, go to import it, and really truly hold our breath that the information would import. Sometimes it would, many times it didn't. And unfortunately, there was never an identifier as to why it wouldn't import. There was no root cause. So there was no way to go back into that file and know, here's what we need to fix. Here's what isn't working. It usually meant either rebuilding the file, retrying it. That was really issue number 1 and probably the biggest issue. But then number 2 was when we would get the information to load, what we found was it was oftentimes not reliable. So as you could see what I demonstrated there, when you went into any given school, you really would need to audit every single product for every single student's grade, gender, and program to truly know the data. Countless hours of auditing, right? If you were to truly go in and inspect every single row of data. Not realistic to have someone proofing sites like that. So we would spot check, hopefully catch the random errors, but oftentimes not. And they would be escalated to us from customers, unfortunately. Things like required logo was just suddenly missing, or an orange polo would randomly appear in the approved color assortment. So that was a big issue. And then third was just site performance. So that was a huge problem. I would say at least half of the time we were hearing feedback of either the site being far too slow, customers just abandoning their carts because they didn't have the time, or the site going down altogether.
Sure. How did that impact the business? I mean, that had to have some serious implications to the business and to your customers.
Oh, absolutely. In our industry, there is a peak buying time. So families need to order uniforms in that July to August timeline. That is our peak season. So as Matt said, we are an e-commerce vendor. If that site doesn't work, we miss sales. If parents have to abandon the cart and then they go elsewhere. So they need the uniforms on time. So which then in turn creates more customer service calls because they need uniforms, they can't order them. And unfortunately, it causes lost partnerships.
Sure. So serious implications.
Yes.
This is great. Thank you so much for sharing this. Question for both of you, or Matt, maybe you can take this. So what's next for Global Schoolwear when it comes to digital commerce?
Yeah, so as mentioned earlier, we're always focused on looking for ways to improve the customer experience. And that experience being our customer, both the schools as well as the parents. So from a parent perspective, one of the things we're looking at is how do we improve the fit of the clothes, making sure they're getting that item right the first time. Our competitors who have retail stores, the parents are able to go in, try things on, and be able to hopefully get that fit right the first time. So we're looking at various tools. You may have seen on various sites that offer where you can say, what brand do you normally wear? What size do you normally wear in that brand? Ways to really try to get it right the first time. And it's also a big cost savings for us as well. So we don't have parents who are ordering a small and medium and then returning the one that doesn't fit. And that's costly for us, both on the cost of shipping back, managing that return, et cetera. From an admin perspective, we really want to make life easier for the admins as well as our team, because the admins are consistently reaching out and just checking in. How are the orders for their school? Are they up to date? Did this parent order yet? Their kid's not in uniform. Did they place the order? What's going on? So we're currently working to build more of an admin portal for our schools so they can log in and see the performance of just the number of orders and if those orders are getting out on time. So really trying to focus for both, as I said, the parent and the school on how we can improve their experience. Additionally,
Can I interrupt? Go ahead, Tom. When you talk about admins, you're not talking about admins that work for your company. You're talking about school administrators, correct?
School administrators, yes. Thank you for that clarification. Yep.
Great. Thank you.
Yep. And then we're also looking at doing some bundle options. So, as Joy said, when you go to the page and there are various levels of required items, meets requirement. Hey, if you're buying this red polo, don't forget you also need your khaki pants or whatever it might be. So looking for options for bundling as well as suggestions when something's out of stock. Many of these schools, as you saw, have different colors of polos that they are accepted. So if you're out of stock on white, hey, don't forget these other 3 colors are available for your school. And then finally, looking for just improvements for the various touch points and integrations with our ERP. So we really want to make sure that returns process, both for our parents as well as once it hits our facility, that process is as smooth as possible. Looking for ways to really keep the customer updated on their order status as it flows through. Because all of these orders are made to order, it takes a little bit longer with the embroidery process. And so we want them to very clearly be able to see where their order is in the process. And so anything we can do to really just have a great customer experience, understand where their order is, have our schools be able to get quick updates. That's really what our focus is on as we move forward.
Sounds great. Thank you so much for sharing that. We are going to head into our Q&A time here. We have about 4 minutes left. Hopefully we have time for a lightning round at the end. We do have 2 questions. One of the questions is, I'm quoting this, I didn't catch what the spreadsheet actually does. Is it an import for configuring products, categories, etc.? Interesting in knowing more if there is time.
So the import file really contains all of the rules within the back end of Znode. We do have our base product catalog with our basic SKUs, but then once this file is imported, the rule set for every layer of detail is in this CSV file. So for example, we'll have a style, and then in one row, and across that row, the various columns will be what rules are built into that. So it will be the color, the size range, the size type, and then what grade, what gender, what program, and what the local rule is.
Got it. Makes sense. I think that answers the question. Oh boy, we keep getting more Q&A. So just for the sake of time, I'm going to breeze through these. We have another question. How do you currently support your schools without the admin portal you hope to create?
I can speak to that as well if you would like, Matt, but our coordinator team, the team that works within Znode every day, is the point of contact with the school administration. So as questions come up, any changes that need to happen, they work directly with that coordinator, and then the coordinator manages it on the back end.
Got it. Great. Okay, last question. We have 2 minutes left, and then I'm going to ask you some personal questions for fun. Last question says, really cool stuff here. As a parent of 2 kids who wear uniforms, this is awesome. 2 questions. What are the common challenges you see the admins face, and how is the mobile experience and adoption?
So I would say common challenges that administrators face, what we help them with as a partner is really similar to what we said, ease for parents. Parents want convenient, easy shopping, rules built in. Parents don't want to wait in line at retail locations to be fitted, to possibly find that they're out of stock on items. They want to be able to shop when it's convenient. That might be midnight in the comfort of their own home. So being able to go to the site, not have to have printed dress code information, being able to know I can reliably go find the information that I need, that really helps administrators. We always say when we reach out to communicate with an administrator and they say, I have really nothing to share, that is such a positive sign, because that means their parent community is being taken care of, and that means everything to us. It also helps the school administrator with enforcement, just dress code enforcement. There's a reason for the dress code. They're able to enforce it accordingly. And then I missed part 2 of that. I'm not sure if that would be better for me or Matt.
Sure. I think the question part 2 was, how is the mobile experience and mobile adoption?
Oh, okay, great. Mobile experience, everything we do, our site is mobile friendly. I don't know what percentage off the top of my head of sales are done via mobile device or tablets, but I do know that we definitely have shoppers that utilize that.
Great. Thank you so much. Okay, well, we literally have 60 seconds left, so let's do something fun. You are a Midwest-based company. Those of you who are on this webinar, probably if you're in the Midwest, you woke up to either snow or freezing rain. So Joy and Matt, you live in the Midwest, it's winter. What do you do for fun?
Well, yes, my favorite winter activity. So I'll say this, I live in the Midwest, but winter is not my favorite. So to embrace winter and the snow and the cold, I love to snowmobile with my family. I love to go snowmobiling with my husband, my kids, and just enjoy the beauty, living in a real life snow globe.
Nice. Matt?
For me, it's putting the snowshoes on, getting out there and walking around with the dog and wife and enjoying the peace and quiet in there, and hearing the snowmobiles just flying by somewhere else.
Sounds good. Well, thank you both so much. This was such a great webinar, and I believe that a lot of people who attended here got a lot out of it. So we really appreciate you as a customer, and we appreciate you sharing your story. So thank you, everyone. Again, this is being recorded. It will be available on znode.com, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.